Hello guys, today I have a 2013 RZR RZR model. I don't know much about these vehicles, but I'm kind of impressed because it's pretty much like a car. It has a power control module, has a fuel pump, fuel injectors and everything. So here's a power control module here, fuel pump as any other car. And the problem in this vehicle is that it's a no crank, no start. It was at the shop for quite some time, and they did diagnose that the main fuse box does not have a power, and it's the fuse box is right there next to under the steering wheel. And so right now I have my key in accessory position, and you just see there's nothing lit up on the dash. Battery is okay. It's a little low, but I got my leads hooked up to the bottom of my power probe, and we have like 12 volts. Now when I apply the power, let's just check the fuses here. I got a ground, nothing here, ground here, ground here. So let me apply the power. You can see the dash lights up, and the fuse, cooling fans are running all the time, but that's not our problem right now. We need to figure out why we're not getting a power to this fuse box. So I traced it down. I looked from the battery, trying to find out, where how the harness goes. I don't have any wiring diagrams, and I came across this splice here. This is a little splice that has 3 fuses, 30 amps, and it's really bad wiring. I mean, this thing is... Now the shop did replace the starter relay in order to fix this. Of course, that didn't do any good. Now here's a some kind of wire. It seems like it's going to this circuit breaker. I'm not sure if there was some kind of active short at some point, so we put the circuit breaker out there. And so anyhow, we have a these 3 fuses here. Now this one here is cut out of the connector because I can see that there's a damage here, so they had to cut the wire and put the inline fuse, which is okay, but this wiring is horrendous, so we'll have to fix that. And so now I already have a power on this one here. I'm not going to bother with that because it's a little hard to get my power probe to this fuse, but let's see. So this is what you want to check next. Make sure that these fuses are not blown and that you got a power to it. So here's one power here. You can see I got a power here. Okay, and then this fuse here has no power, has a ground. Okay, here and here. So the fuse is okay. Now when I apply the power to this fuse, so basically this fuse is not receiving the power. When I apply the power, you can see everything goes back alive. So we have a broken wire, and it's a this wire here, the far left. That's where is, now let me show you guys. If I apply the power to this far leg to the left, you can see, so there's nothing on this. Oh, it's this one here actually, I'm sorry. So this one here I can set a ground, and when I send the power to it, everything goes back alive. So this wire here is broken, and so I looked around. I took the cover off and said I'm trying to figure out where is a this is a splice, where is it coming from. So basically everything is coming from a starter relay from this leg here. Everything is spliced to a different locations, to different circuits. So this wire here that goes to the starter, and this is a constant power. You can see it comes from the from the battery, and everything that's supposed to feed power to this connector here, this splice here. It's not a connector, it's a splice. Now this is just that there's a cover here. Basically they were like a there was a little label that says a 30 amp fuses, but that's gone. So basically it's just that keeps the water from coming into this splice, to this little fuse box basically. And so everything is actually coming straight from this point here, and its splice goes into the harness and goes into this little fuse box. And then look, and sure enough, here's a broken wire right in here. And but there's really confusing. I mean, there's a whole bunch of wires that actually cut out right at the, I mean, it's just a shit show here, of the wiring, and you can see some wires are already cut out. So anyhow, my wire that's supposed to, this is my wire that was broken, and this one actually, you know, this wire here, it's actually connected to that wire here, and it was I don't even remember. There was, I kind of did a, okay, so here's the wire. And so it was corroded. It was actually the insulation. I'm sorry, insulation was damaged, and it's just you know. So now we have to fix that out. So I'm just gonna get my piercing probe. So I put the fuse back in, and I pierce this wire. You can see we have a ground, and I give the power. Everything goes back alive. Okay, and so basically we have a. This wire is broken, has to be reconnected, but now I'm going to actually rewire everything. I'm going to take all this apart. This has to be rewired. This is not good at all. And then we'll see. I'm going to unbolt this bolt here, get all these eyelets out, and then see what everything. I mean, it's just I can't see very well, but. That's what we're dealing with right now. Anyhow, if you turn your key into on position, your battery is okay, the cables are okay. You check your fuses, make sure the fuses are getting power. If they don't, you then go to that box there. So basically there's like a seat, you take the seat out, there's another cover, take all that out, gain access to that fuse box, and then make sure you got a power there. And so I'm going to do all the rewiring, and then we'll come back and then see if this thing's gonna start or not. Wiring is done. This is the best I could do. Now this splice here, there's the broken wire. It's this one here, one that was causing a problem, and the yellow inline fuse, I've got that cut out and put a nice new one in. Then relay that was originally in it, it did not hold up at all. Once I stopped putting stuff together, it just fell apart. So I actually got a much bigger one, and I did reuse the connector from the original relay. This was the new one, but it just didn't. I mean, this is just like it just fell apart. So I did cut the connector for the control side of the relay to splice it in here. You can see now that looks pretty good too. And it's connected to a control circuit here, and connects to the control side of the relay. And so now we have all the wiring are on one of the leg on the load side of the relay. This is a constant power, and this is the wire that goes to the starter. And once the relay is closed, it's going to jump the power from here to here, and it's going to crank the engine. Something else, we had a this wire here that I actually used the yellow connector that was used before to put the fuse in it. Now this was something I never seen before. I didn't really pay attention to this right away, to this wire, until I finished this part, and I then traced this one, and this is what they've done. I mean, this is how it was. I mean, I never seen anything like it. So this is a circuit breaker, I think 40 amp circuit breaker, and so these are the hot wires. I mean, this is they use these clamps to clamp to the leg of the circuit breaker. So that's crazy. I'm going to leave the fuse in. I'm not sure what the deal is. Is it blowing the fuse or something? I don't know. So I just put 30 amp fuse in it, and I'm going to leave it as it is right now because I have no idea where it's supposed to go. But you know, it was working, I guess, until that wire broke, and then, you know, killed the power to the main fuse box. And so now when I turn the key to on position, we should have everything going. There we go. So let's see if it's gonna. I haven't touched anything. I don't know. I did charge the battery, so we are in neutral. Let's see if it's gonna start or not. And we have no crank. Okay. Looks like our relay is not working right. That sucks. This could be the safety. It's got to work because it did crank before, so. I think it's brake pedal, maybe it's not. It should work. I'm in park. Alright, definitely it's not, something doesn't work right. Alright, well, it's showing reverse, doesn't see neutral. Oh, okay, I see, never mind. Okay, now it's in park. They should crank now. Huh. Still nothing. Come on. Okay, let's see neutral. Nothing. Alright, seems like we have a ground problem on this control side, which we didn't have that before, but so we got a ground here, and of course ground here because circuit is open, and when I turn the key to crank position, you see you get a power, but I lose the ground. I need to see which one it is, but see that I got a ground. And the ground should stay, but it does not. So I need to unplug it and see which one is ground, and then rewire that as well. Okay, so here's the power. This white and red wire that's coming from the ignition switch. I turn the ignition on. It's working okay. This is my I turn the key on crank position. So I don't even have to have the pedal foot on the brake pedal to work. And this is the ground. This is a little dim, looks like, but it's light up. So what are we measuring here now? 2.9 volts. So we're dropping the voltage on the ground side. That's another thing that I didn't know about. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that wire and splice it down. And this is off too. Some kind of safety switch or some sort. Alright, so we will open up this harness. I'm going to cut this red wire, looks like it's coming from the other one, the black. I have to see which one it is, and just go straight to the ground. And I cannot, you know, I'm not going to go through this harness and try to find or maybe I can just, I'm gonna clean this up first. This is the ground point. I'm gonna clean this up and see if it makes a difference. If it does not, I'm just gonna cut it and get the new ground wire. Alright, I cleaned that ground point. It was kind of rusty and whatnot, dirty. Let's see what happens now. Park, nothing. Alright, well then we're gonna rewire this ground. Alright, so I got the ground from my power probe connected to the ground side of the control, side of the relay. Let's see. It's alive! Alright. Okay, so next step I'm just gonna cut that wire and put new fresh ground at the same point there. I'm just gonna open up the harness here, you know, cut this wire out and put the eyelet and put it right there, and it'll be fine. I don't know what the resistance is, but I'm not gonna chase it down. Okay, I'm done. I'm actually checking the coolant temperature sensor. It's right on the head over there. And I'm on a control wire reading 1/2 volt. Now just kicked out the 5 volt ref, but let's just get it started actually. Now, okay, so what I did here, I rewired the ground side. See, there's now the orange wire. I have rewired it to the known good ground. I think this is actually original complaint that he had. He was telling me before that, you know, he would the cooling fans are kicking in and it would not crank sometimes. He would wiggle some wire, it would crank and whatnot, and then this was an additional problem, and then developed a problem that there was nothing on the dash. It would not do anything at all. The fan would not come on anymore. That's because of that feed wire that was broken. So multiple problems on this thing. And now let's just start it up. Runs okay. And now I'm on my signal wire and I'm at 1/2 volt. So basically my sensor is shorted. And here's my ground, 6 millivolts. So you know we should have probably like a 2.5, 3 volts or something like that. And that's why the fans are running all the time, because there's, you know, it's 0.5 volts. It's pretty much dropping down to zero. The 5 volt ref is pretty much down to zero. And so that's it. It's kind of sputtering a little bit, but alright guys, well you can see now once the computer goes out, this will go down to zero once the 5 volt ref goes away when the computer goes to sleep. But that's just doesn't really matter. Okay, so there you go. You can see the click and it goes back to zero. And so it needs a new temperature sensor that should take care of the fan problems. The reason why the cooling fans are running all the time, because they're actually rigged up. There's a ground wire here that's hooked up to the this connector right in front of the connector for the cooling fan here. You can see that's one wire, and there's another wire coming from the dash. It's this one here, and goes into the other side of on another wire to feed the cooling fans, and that wire is coming from a power outlet right there. It's a power outlet. They actually put the fuse in it, and so this is the power side. That's how they power the this is how they give the power to the cooling fan, and the ground coming from the front. So that is what it is. And you know, when you turn the key on, you know, you get the power to the power outlet, and automatically it's going to energize give the power to the cooling fans. It is what it is for now. I'm not gonna, unless he wants me to dig that out. We need to. I'm pretty certain that cooling fan is not. I mean, temperature sensor is not working, and it's like a 0.5 volt. That's way too low. It shouldn't be more than that. So, and then we have to rewire it and then check the relay to make sure the relay is working. For the cooling fan relay is right here. But for now, it's just gonna stay where it is. So, all right. I did some homework. I googled cooling fan circuit, and I couldn't really find the diagram, but I did actually come across one picture that actually showing this 40 amp circuit breaker. This is actually factory, and so I was thinking maybe it's some kind of active short, and they couldn't find it. They put the circuit breaker in it. It's not. This is factory, and it's a part of the cooling system, I believe, cooling fan control system, but because the cooling fans are rigged up, this is useless anyway. But I did put the fuse in here, but this circuit, it's not functioning at all. So I actually got the 20 amp or 30 amp circuit breaker. I can place that in here, but it's not going to do anything because the cooling fan circuit is rigged up and the fans are running all the time. So it is what it is. Alright, this is the interesting one. I never had to chance to work one of these, and as I said, this was in another shop for a while, and they couldn't find the problem, and then they were waiting for a starter relay to come in, and they of course replaced that, and that didn't make any difference at all. And they did actually diagnose that the main fuse box does not get the power. Interesting enough, during the diagnosis, when the owner was here, and I would take the power probe and I would apply the power to that fuse, and actually it would crank. And so I'm so glad that, you know, that, I mean, I would just fix the power feed to a fuse box and let go because it was cranking, but there was an underlying issue that it was kind of intermittent. I'm so glad it happened to me, that the relay would not close because of the bad ground. And that was, now that ground is not coming from the power control module. It's a constant ground. It's just coming somewhere in the harness. I'm not sure where the breakage is, but I'm sure it's coming from that post, that point of where the ground is, right next to the battery. And I got all that cleaned up, and it still didn't do any good. So somewhere in the harness is excessive resistance on that ground wire, on the ground control wire, on the starter relay, and I'm not going to dig it. I mean, this will be fixed. And then yeah, I mean, this was interesting. And again, I mean, it's as long as you know your essentials, car is a car. I mean, all the electricals are pretty much the same, whether you're working on the lawnmower or this four-wheeler, whatever it is, and then or car or whatever. It's all the same. You need to know you need to know how to troubleshoot electrical problems, and you can pretty much fix whatever you want to fix. And luckily, I was if there was something more problematic with this thing, I mean, I did not have wiring diagram. It would be kind of difficult because all of those power feeds are red wires, and that kind of sucks because you cannot isolate the circuit. If there was a breakage in a harness deeper into the harness, that would be difficult to find. You would have to literally dissect each wire to find the problem, but this was pretty easy to get to. And of course I didn't want to mess with this ground wire. It's not worth time to look for it. You just rewire it and they'll be fine. And to non-good ground, of course. And okay, well, I think he'll be happy. This thing was in the shop for I think 4 months, and he was very frustrated. He couldn't get it back. The guy was holding it, try to fix it. He couldn't fix it. So, but interesting. I'm glad I got everything rewired the way it should be, and yeah, he'll be fine. All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.